So most people are aware of this 8 hour sleep myth, that we need 8 hours in order to survive and function and be healthy. And most people know that it's a myth at this point. They kind of realize that, people have different sleep needs. Some people need 7 hours of sleep. Some people need 9 hours of sleep. A lucky quote unquote few might need 6 or even less hours of sleep. And there's sort of an inherent variability in how much sleep a person needs. But what people might not be as familiar with is that our striving for 8 hours worth of sleep for some people can actually lead to insomnia. And in this video, I'm going to talk about why striving for 8 hours of sleep and kind of this sort of magic number can actually lead you to experience chronic sleep disruptions night after night. Hi, if you're new here, which you probably are because this is a new channel and this is the first video. My name is Dr. Parky Lau. I'm a clinical psychologist and a behavioral sleep medicine specialist. I did my postdoctoral fellowship at the Stanford Sleep Health and Insomnia program, and I've been studying and treating and teaching evidence-based behavioral sleep medicine for quite a while now, so I'd love to share some of that information with you. So in order to understand why striving for 8 hours can actually sometimes lead to insomnia, I want to start by providing a little bit of a story/analogy that I often give to patients. Let's say you have a 10-inch pizza pan, but only 6 or 7 inches worth of pizza dough. If you were to stretch that pizza dough into the larger pan, what would happen? And your answer would probably be, well, it would probably be really thin, there'd be holes in the middle of it, and it's just going to be kind of light and it might even burn. And the same thing can happen with our sleep. Let's say you're spending 9 or 10 hours worth of time in bed because you're like, oh my gosh, it takes me an hour to fall asleep. I'm up in the middle of the night for like another hour and I need 8 hours of sleep. So I'm now spending 9, 10, 11 hours in bed. But let's say you're actually a 7 hour sleeper. You only need technically 7 hours worth of sleep to function. What would happen if you were to stretch that 7 hours worth of sleep into a much larger window? And the same thing would happen with our sleep, just as it did with the pizza and the larger pizza pan, in that it would be very light sleep. So you might even not even register it as sleep. It might kind of feel like, was I awake? Was I asleep? It's kind of this weird twilight zone. Or there might be kind of large periods where you are just fully awake, and the sleep itself is going to be really light. So one thing that can be really helpful is to do our best to spend an appropriate amount of time in bed, consistent with how much sleep we're producing right now. If we're sleeping on average 6 hours, then maybe we want to not spend 10 or 11 hours in bed and bring it a little bit closer to the 6. And I know what people are thinking, well, if I do that and I'm still taking hours to fall asleep at night, or I'm up in the middle of the night for so long, what do I do? Like, tomorrow's going to be horrible. And the one thing that can be really helpful is to focus not on what you can do to save the current night, but to protect yourself for the next night. So how do I make sure that I'm setting myself for success the subsequent night? So let's say I had a poor night, but I still get up at 7 because that's important to me to make sure I'm not spending too much time in bed. The next time you go to bed, let's say at 11 or 12, you're going to have that extra hunger for sleep because you didn't spend too much time in bed. And the more that we're able to, in some ways, break out of what the insomnia is telling us to do, which is spend more time in bed, try to catch up on that specific night, the more we're able and putting ourselves in a position to break out of the insomnia trap and get us back on track. So hopefully this video was helpful for you to learn a little bit more about why the 8 hour myth can actually be kind of a really problematic trap for a lot of people, especially those with insomnia. If you're interested in learning more, feel free to subscribe because I'll be continuing to make videos specifically on evidence-based treatments for chronic insomnia. I also happen to be the author of a self-help book called The Insomnia Paradox. If you want to check that out, I'll throw that in the link in the description below. Otherwise, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.